Yo, what's going on everyone? Miles Midoriya here with a review of All-American Homecoming Season 2, Episode 3. I wanted to change the format up a little bit by going by the characters first instead of by scenes, but y'all let me know if y'all like this format better, either by characters or by going by each scene. First up is Simone. In this episode, she was not the same like usual. She was very rude. First, it was Orlando with the debate. Yeah, people laughed when he said something back, but he considered it a healthy debate and she got an attitude with him. While Simone was talking with her aunt, the president of the Student Government Association, Nico, was trying to set up a meeting with her. He was a tad bit rude, and Amara let him know that she's been busy. Then Simone said, "My aunt said what she said, and she is with a student." Amara did say to her, "The way we carry ourselves has consequences," so even her aunt could see it because the way she's moving is a little bit too much. Orlando noticed again when she was talking to Tootie. He said, "You got that mean girl thing on lock," and she said, "You don't even know me." He said he's starting to think that's a good thing. She is changing, but not in a good way. Simone and the rest of the tennis players did have a match today. They were going against the college they were supposed to merge with. So Simone did help out some of the players and they all studied the weaknesses of those opponents. But Tootie and them, they didn't really get invited to it because of how they treated her. When you see the match, you do have some that are winning and some that are losing. While the others were playing their match, Simone and Tootie got into a little argument which had the coach come in and break it up. Before that, Tootie mentioned that underneath all that let's be friends front, she's selfish like everyone else. I gotta say, yeah, Simone's wildin', but it's not like they didn't provoke her to this. She tried to be nice or somewhat friendly to them, and it didn't work. It's just this version, she kind of pushed out too quickly without thinking about it first. Here's the first part where Simone probably started thinking about her actions. The coach started talking to her saying, instead of working together to beat the other team, you let them school them. She told her she tried unity and it got shoved back in her face. The coach replied with, "It's bad you didn't share your analysts with your teammates, and the fact that she thinks that that's not a problem is the problem." I know Tootie sees her as a threat, but it's like, would they have listened to her if she would have went over there and asked them, or would they have just criticized her? Or maybe if she would have showed the coach and maybe the coach would have gave it to him. I guess that would have been a second option. The second part was while Simone is walking, she overhears Tootie trying to explain to her mother why she lost her match. Her mother must be really going off on her. Damon walked up to Simone and said, "What'd you do to make her cry?" She asked Damon has she gotten that bad, and he said, "You tell me how you sleep at night." She brought up how Thea and Tootie give her crap while she was on the team, and now she's the team disappointment. Damon said maybe her coach has higher expectations for her. She's a natural leader. She's the one to bring everyone together. The bar might be higher for her because she's a better person. Damon didn't want to admit it, but Orlando was right. She's not the mean girl. There's a point between Doormat and a page where she gets to be Simone. Towards the end of the episode, Simone invites Orlando to the dinner, and she admitted to him that the girl he met this week wasn't her, and she reintroduced herself. Damon goes and talks to her, and she told him that she's found her middle ground and making amends. Glad to see Simone is going back to herself with a little stuff added. It wasn't cool seeing her be the bad guy. Just be you and not pretending to be something else. Next up is Nate. He's back in a relationship with an ex who Keisha doesn't like. It's actually Nico. Nate mentions to him that he has a family dinner later with Amara, and we see a random post saying that Amara's showing favoritism towards her niece and friends, and he hears you can get the hookup if you can get in on her family dinners. When Nate mentioned it, he probably didn't want something like that posted out there. Keisha did bring up over the dinner that he is a narcissist, and he made him cry for like a week. Everyone's at the table trying to tell her to calm down. I can see one side where a friend cares, and then on the other side, sometimes you may just have to let them figure it out themselves. You can try to help all you want, but they'll want to have to help themselves first. Moving along to Damon, throughout this episode, he was not getting along with his birth father. One of the reasons was he tried to make Orlando the main pitcher. He goes to talk to Jesse, but Jesse told him that Shaw had him, so he agreed to get Orlando. Damon let him know that he's nobody's number 2. I mean, I get what Jesse is saying because he thought he was gone and he needed a new pitcher. I imagine Coach Shaw probably has a backup pitcher because you just let 2 good pitchers go. So we hear Jesse and Damon arguing. JR's over here texting. Orlando's about to go into the office until he tells him, "Nah, man, you don't want to go in there." Orlando thought it was about pitching, but he told him it's a bunch of father-son crap going on as well. That's when Orlando learns that the coach, JR, and Damon are all related, but Coach Marcus did go into the office and break those 2 up. And shout out to Coach Marcus, he was just trying to help throughout this episode. Damon was sitting at the table with Simone. She gives him a speech that hypes him up a little. So he goes and talks to Orlando and let him know that the coach picked him because of their issues and people know that he should be the main pitcher. Orlando let him know, "You're not better than me." So they go to the coach and let him know that they want to have a pitch off. Jesse wasn't almost up for it until Marcus spoke up saying that it would unite the team and legitimize who the pitcher is in their eyes. Orlando let him know he was up for it and Jesse agreed. Then Jesse got all mad that Marcus spoke up during that meeting saying to him that he had to fight for him to come back because there were parents who didn't think he was stable enough to be there. He expects Marcus to have his back like he did for him. Marcus let him know he has his back. He knows Damon and he wouldn't accept second spot to anyone unless he felt it was earned. Jesse gonna have the nerve to say, if you ever tell him how to coach his son again, you're fired. I don't think you get to say that one. He spent more time with him, especially when it comes to baseball, so he doesn't have the right to say that to Marcus. Damon did manage to win the pitch off. They both had their mess ups, but he came out with the win. Later at the game, he thanks Coach Marcus for everything. When Jesse saw that, he looked a little bit hurt, and Orlando saw it as well. Jesse, that could be you getting along with your son, but you always keep making stuff difficult. I will add though, it was kind of sad and funny when Jesse announced that Damon was the main pitcher, and he literally tried to stick his hand out to shake his hand, and Damon walked right past him. Orlando did talk with Damon after the game. He brought up about legacy. He knows it's important to Damon and that the issues with his family, and then Damon interrupted him and said Jesse's not his family. Orlando let him know that he was watching both of them, that they get under each other's skin, and only family can do that. He had a good game, but the family mess can affect the team at some point. He's supposed to be the leader, and he wouldn't want that to affect his legacy. Orlando probably couldn't stand being around Damon at first, and he was a little bit of an irritating character, but throughout the whole episode, he's been pretty nice and handling the situations very well. Later on, we see Damon with everyone at Amar's place for dinner. He tells Simone that he wants to make amends with his birth family. Good for him. You can't keep carrying that around. It's best to get to know them. After that, we do see a scene of Jesse asking Marcus could he tell him about his son. There you go, Jesse. That's a start. A first step in the right direction. I hope we do see some progress in the next few episodes. Up next is JR. In this episode, he was pretty good. He ran into his ex, tried to make some small talk, and she peeled out. Gabby, the woman who was pushing for Cam to join her group, saw it, and they had a little quick chat too. As the episode went on, you could tell there was something developing between him and Gabby, but JR was happy though when he was walking through the campus and all the ladies was giving him some attention. He did sit down with his ex and they talked about their relationship and the whole Kevin situation. Glad he found out the truth. They did kiss and he hurried up and said, "Did you want to come to my game?" But she said that was closure, not a new beginning. She let him know that she'll see him around, and at least he got that chapter of his life closed. But things weren't too bad. He did let everybody know at dinner he had to leave early because he had a date. I wonder if it was with Gabby or someone new. Jumping to Cam and Keisha. Keisha is nervous. She's telling Cam that she has to prove herself every single day in class and she has to re-audition at the end of the semester just to stay in dance. Cam lets her know that she can convince the professor again to stay in the dance. He told her that he's glad that she has a schedule that she's happy with, but his is trash. After the whole registration mess, it was only one musical class open, and that was musical theater. That's when Cam's dad pops up because he wasn't taking his calls. His mom was freaking out because they got a letter saying he wasn't enrolled this semester. He told him it's all been cleared up. His dad said if football is done, he should move back home to LA, but he doesn't want to leave and that he wants to pursue music. His dad said that's not a future, and Cam replied that's why he hasn't taken his phone calls. Cam was about to leave because, he didn't want to hear all that. His dad was like, "You walk out again and see what happens." He told him he had classes and work, so as Cam was walking out of the building, he ran into Keisha's father, Zeke. He said, "Are you late for class?" He almost answered, but he remembered he wasn't the president of the college anymore. He was waiting for Keisha, but something came up in her dance class, so he was just enjoying scaring former students on their way to class. Cam's about to head out, but Keisha's father let him know that he could listen to what he has to say because Cam did mention earlier that it wasn't really a good day. He told him that his dad's in town and that his parents want him to move back to LA. He's going to have dinner with his dad the next day to talk it out. He needs a buffer, hoping Keisha would come, and Zeke told him he would show up to talk to him, and Cam mentions Keisha was right about him. He's different. He's a little more chill. He said it's amazing what letting go of a high-pressure job will do to you. Cam said, or it's a secret girlfriend Keisha thinks he's hiding. Something about goofy smiles when he texts or whisper phone calls, but we will talk about that later in the video. Even though Zeke doesn't really have to help Cam out, it's nice to see it happen though. Keisha finishes up class. The professor told her that she has good energy, but there's still things that she needs to work on. She tells her thank you, and she doesn't let her leave just yet. She wants to see her make the improvements, which means she's not going to be able to make that dinner. At the dinner, Cam mentioned that Keisha is in dance and him singing. He says, oh, he sees the problem now. Do you know how many musicians are bagging groceries where they're from? Keisha's father said he understands from his daughter switching majors. You got to let your kids pursue their passions. He told him his family can't afford half-baked dreams. Cam tried to invite him to the baseball game to see him sing with the ATLs, but his dad said he had a flight to catch, and once the semester's over, he's coming back home. Cam declined, saying that he would make it work there with or without his support. That's one thing about Cam and the many others on this show. They're going to keep fighting for what they want. I knew that route was coming. He wants him to do what he wants, but it's your son's life. You won't be able to watch over him forever. If this is what he wants to do, then let him do it. Cam goes and perform. It was on point. We do see his dad. He decided to stop by. He clapped, so maybe he'll let him do what he wants. Towards the end of the episode, Cam's looking a little down and looks like a 90s R&B music video the way he's looking out this window. Keisha tells him that she's proud of him and that he did a good job performing at the game today. He said he can't believe his dad didn't stop by the game, but she said her dad did see him there and that is progress. And he's happy, as he should be. He's getting through to him a little bit. One of the last characters we're going to talk about is Amara. In this episode, she had a moment where she wanted to go check on her old classroom. Simone knew she would be there, so she told her that she just wanted to peek into her classroom. She loves her new job, but she misses teaching and being around students. Simone was like, what about the dinner? She could bring more people to Amara's place. Amara was like, unless they know how to do more than boil rice. I know that's right. She probably the main one doing the cooking. Earlier I mentioned Keisha's dad was dating and it's Amara. I was kind of surprised, but not really. You could kind of see something happening between the two last season. They're at Amara's place talking. He knew that she would show up to her old class and she tried to deny it, but she said Simone was there to help her let go. Then she got into it with the SGA president. That's when Zeke gave her some advice, which included Nico will always be a pain. Amara asked him, does he miss it? He said certain aspects, but he's enjoying getting back into medicine. Besides, he couldn't tell the woman that he had feelings for her, and she said she's grateful he told her during Christmas break. That's when she had got that text about the dinners I mentioned earlier about her showing favoritism towards her niece and the people that go to the dinners. Which leads to the end of the episode with her saying that she is not having any more family dinners. She said whoever posted that about the dinners was right. They do have unfair access to her as Bringston's president. That the dinner that they're at right now was their last one. That's where the episode ends. I get where she's coming from. It was fun seeing them all get together and talk, but she has to do what she has to do. Overall, it was a good episode. Each character is dealing with their own stuff. Simone solved hers a little bit in this episode. Not saying she's not going to have trouble with the tennis team, but we'll just have to see. Damon wants to fix stuff or at least get to know his birth family and much more. So I cannot wait to see the next episode, which will be on November 7th. Comment below what are your thoughts about this episode and what was your favorite part from it. Even though the episode won't be out until November 7th, here's the synopsis for All American Homecoming Season 2 Episode 4. Thank you all for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one.